There's no need for a clock. What's Shabbos is l'matal min hazman. Halavai. You want to give tomorrow, Efsher? Would be the most interesting share of all time. Boys, I share tomorrow by Gary.
At least it will be interesting.
Wow. There's only 34 people on Zoom. I'm not starting until we have 100. Oh. Okay. Sorry. Can we start? Good Voch. Today's share is sponsored by TL. Refuah Shleima for TL. Leah Nishmas Yehudis Mordechai. Sponsored by Nachum Eilberg of Nof Zion, Yerushalayim. In memory of my father, Pesach Zelig ben Ya'akov נחום. If you read this with me, you'll see how hard it is to read. Not because it's something, the way they give me these words and they tell me to print, everything is messed up with the Hebrew and the English. In memory of my father, Pesach Zelig ben Ya'akov נחום, on the 36th yartzeit, Yud Ches Teves, from a loyal daily via YouTube follower since the first few days of brachas, and fortunately, I've not missed a day since. Shkoyach Nachum Eilberg, wow. And Shimon should have an aliyah. By the MDY family, leilui Nishmas Yerachmiel ben Yibadel Chaim Toivim Rebbe Yisroel. The Rochel Rochel goes in Yerachmiel. Leilui Nishmas Yehoshua ben Boruch Nosson. Nishmas should have an aliyah. Kalman Oppenheimer, leilui Nishmas Yehudis bas Mordechai, Edith something. How do you pronounce it? I'm not very good at this. How do you pronounce Doc? How do you pronounce it? Ukeles. Okay, if that's how you say it, that's how you think. Edith Ukeles, on the occasion of her 14th yartzeit, she was a wonderful mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother that is truly missed. And by the one and only Mordechai Sapoznick, he sent me a bunch of his cartoons. I have to put them out one day. Shkoyach. L'zeich Nishmas, his great-grandmother's yartzeit. Whenever we have his cartoons, we try to use them. He puts them, his cartoons are in the Or HaMerkaz. On every Shabbos, you get to see his cartoons. Rebbitzen Rochel or Nachum. Mordechai Sapoznick is sponsoring Zeich Nishmas, his great-grandmother's yartzeit. Rebbitzen Rochel, Leah, Rabin, Rochel Leah, Bas, Reb Shimon, Zechroinah, Levrocha. May her neshama have an aliyah, may she be a melez yeshiv for all the Rochel Leahs that are named after her. For the entire mishpacha and all of Klal Yisroel. First of all, this is a nice, cute one. This is from Yomi Pesachim. He says, "Hi, so my dad watches you. Listen, נחום. Hi, so my dad watches you every day and he loves it. It would be great honor if you can say his name, Eli Mason. He really wants to meet you. He lives in Bet Shemesh. The son is looking out for his father. Givaldik. He lives in Bet Shemesh. You guys know who he is? Mason? You know? You do know? What are you doing there? How did this guy get in here? No, it's Reb Eli Mason. This is by Morty Ness. I was waiting for one of these emails, finally. As always, the shir is great. It's an amazing schos to be part of MDY Chabura. I've been following closely your discussion on Chrein Azmar. In years past, as many have also seemed to do, I've combined the romaine lettuce with the Chrein. Yet, after going through this sugya, it appears they're really different. Mar is, as the Gemara is bitter, but Chrein is sharp, charif. Therefore, it's possible that by combining them, now he's coming up with a new thing. One is mevatel the tam of the mar with the sharpness of the Chrein. Obviously, it's been a minhag Yisrael to use Chrein, but this is mainly because it was difficult to get romaine in Europe. As the Shabur notes, I also noted it. As a result of learning the sugya, I'll use this year exclusively romaine for mar and combine it with Chrein for kairach. He's not giving it up completely. Chrein for kairach, because kairach we said is the main one. So I don't know. Did he do the sugya completely? Mordechai Ness, huh? No, the sorry. The afikoymen, what we say? The matzah of the afikoymen, kairach. Okay, fine, I got it. Okay, no, he's right. Combine it with chrein for the kairach. Finally, somebody's doing tshuva. Well, obviously, he's not Hasidish. He's not the real deal. And this one, I didn't read the other day. I forgot to print it out, so we're going to read it now. Shalom Rebelli from Sydney, Australia. I'm a daily YouTuber. I'm indebted to your engaging teaching style to help me down under in Sydney, become an ish Soidni. Soid Hashem li reov. I wish to dedicate the shir in honor of our son. Now, listen, Rabbi Yisai, I have to just say, Gary, there are people that are hard of hearing, so therefore they turn up the TV so loud so you can hear all the way. But I hear very well. And maybe I hear what's going on in your computer too. I'm just letting you know. I hear myself, double. To his credit, he has given up a comfort zone and promising career in Sydney as a respected educator and rabbi to embrace change and challenges by making aliyah and reuniting with two of his brothers in Israel. So that was that picture. Remember, I showed you the picture. This attached picture shows him in quarantine in Dan Panorama, Tel Aviv. I wish you ongoing success with your dynamic style, humor, and visual aids. Till a hagdil, Torah lahadira, kol tuv, zay gesund, Jeremy Hyman from Sydney, Australia. And we welcome his son. What's his son's name again? Oh, Noam. I think I missed the whole line here. I wish to dedicate the shir in honor of our son Noam, who has just made aliyah. He flew out of Sydney via Dubai on Sunday. So Noam, welcome. And Rabbi Yisai, I forgot to mention, today we're actually switching the art scroll and the Masifta. So get up right now, go to your closet, get that second sefer. We are holding by Tanu Rabbanon. Mem Aleph Amud Beis, 2, 4, 6, 8 lines from the bottom. Tanu Rabbanon. Ochal tzli miba'oid yoim chayav. So, we know the mitzvah of Korban Pesach is to eat it tzali, roasted. If you eat that roasted Korban Pesach, Erev Pesach, your oiven is the raisa and you get malchus. Ukizayis no mishachashecha chayav. And the Torah says, do not eat it no. So if you do, you get malchus. But they're said in the same sentence. Ktani tzli dumidina, mano belav, av tzli belav. So, just like eating it rear, which is in pasuk, mefurish pasuk, you get malchus. So too, eating roast, Korban Pesach, Erev Pesach, those time that there's no food, few yogurts and whatever. What do we say that the oilam eats? That I forgot the name. That cholent thing, that meat that's like yapchi. A lot of people wrote in that they eat a lot of yapchi. So, no, this is yapchi. Yapchi, Korban Pesach, you get malchus. Bishlei mino ksiv al techlu minano, it's mefurish pasuk. El tzli mino lo andi ksiv, v'achus abasa b'layla azeh, b'layla in, b'yoyim loy. So there's a mitzvah asay to eat the Korban Pesach at night, but it says eat it at night, and if you eat it during the day, you're over on a bittul asay. A bittul asay. I'm not doing an assay. The positive commandment of eating. V'cholav habo, frek the Gemara, hi, lav habo mechlal aseyu. It's not a lav that you can get malchus on. It's an assay. You're doing the opposite of an assay, but it's not a lav. You only get malchus on a lav. V'cholav habo mechlal aseyu assay. Now, we know that if you do your over an assay, it's a lot easier in terms of the tshuva part. And the Rabin talks about it. It's less of a mess, so to speak. You don't have to do as much to clean out a mitzvah assay, a bittul assay, where a lav is a lot more chamer. Omer Rav Chizda Hamani, Rebbe Yehuda, Daf Yomi Amud Aleph. The Sanyo Shor Voses Sorua V'Kolut says in the pasuk, you give an adava to the Beis Hamikdash. What should you give? You should give an animal that has one limb larger than the other, that whole sugya, one eye larger than the other eye, one leg longer than the other. That's something you can't bring onto the mizbeach. You can't bring it as a carbon. So you know what you do with it? Give it as a donation to the Beis Hamikdash. Let them sell it. Let them make some money off of it. But it says in the pasuk, "Nidavat hasi oisai," and the end of the pasuk is uleneder lo yiratza. It's no good for a carbon. But it says oisai. Oisai atamatpis lebedek habayis v'atamatpis tmiyim lebedek habayis. This is something that you should donate. But if you have a beautiful animal, don't give it to the bedek habayis. That's something you bring as a carbon. Mikan omru kol hamatvis tmimim lebedek habayis oiver ba'asei. So it says in the pasuk a positive. You should give this as an adava. And what if you give the other thing as an adava? You give a perfect animal as an adava. It doesn't say in the Torah. But mechlal hein atashemei alav. The Torah says, give this as an adava, meaning, but don't give a perfect, healthy animal to the Beis Hamikdash. And if you do, you're over you're over. He's over and asay. So how do I know that I get some malchus for it? The word leimor tells us that there's a lois asay. Now, before we go any further, what? So every single time it says in Torah leimor, which is hundreds of times, it means you're over and a lois asay? No, says Tosfos. Only when it's a lav, it's a lav abo mechlal asay. If the Torah commands you a positive command, and from there we're learning a lois asay, then you get malchus. Why? Because it says leimor. And where do you see from the word leimor? Okay, so Rabbi Yehuda holds that it's a lois asay. Now, what does that have to do with us? Because in our parasha, also by Korban Pesach, the first pasuk, Shmooze, Amud Beis, pasuk Aleph, Vayer Hashem al Moshe vel Aaron be'eretz Mitzrayim leimor. So we also have a leimor, and this we're learning from here the asay, and from the asay comes a lois asay. So I know that it is a lav. Amalei Rebbe lebar kapara my mashma. Where do you see it in the word leimor? Amalei d'chsiv leimor. How do you read it? Loi nemar badvarim. Leimor, loi nemar. So it's a lois asay. Beirav amri leimor, lavimor. So even more, they're saying that it says in the word a lav. This Amud Aleph stands for lav. There's a lav in here. It's a hidden message. Leimor. It should say what's leimor? You should know over here is a lav, but only like Tosfos, only in certain situations where there's asay. The asay turns into a lav.
So many times it says leimor.
I told you. That's what Tosfos says. Only when there's an asay. When there's an asay, then it turns into a lav. So it says in the Mishnah, the baker has this bowl next to him. He constantly rinses off his hands. And what does he have on his hands? He has a bunch of flour, and it goes into the bowl. So that bowl is a concern for us for chametz. So it says, in one place it says that this baker should spill it out on an incline. Like an uneven surface is not good. Why? Because the water, the dirty water full of flour is going to get stuck in one of these holes and turn into chametz. Right? Your wife might tell you she's thirsty, she needs a cup of water, so you're going to go to the sidewalk in the hole and give her. In those days they were nice. They didn't go to the bathroom, to the toilet. They used to go outside to the sidewalk. Fine. But it says you could spill it out in a place that's uneven. There's a lot of water, the kavu, and right? Kavu and Parshas Bereshis, like Perak Aleph, kavu amayim, no, it's going to gather to one place. It will burn out by itself. It will evaporate. It's not a problem. Amar Rav Yehuda. The Gemara says it in one line, and people make out of this the biggest deal. Amar Rav Yehuda, Isha lo talosh elo b'mayim shalanu. First of all, it says Isha, which needs explanation, but in those days, who used to do all the kneading? Think about it, in those days, they were Pashut Yidden, they used to make, what is that? They're building tonight? They used to make matzah like at home. And who would make the matzah? Forget about the chaburas and all the briskers. And the wife used to take some dough or some flour and water, mix it up, throw it into the chametz oven, not so chametz, and make a nice matzah and finished. So it says, what does this word mean? Shalanu. Mayim shalanu. What does it mean? Shalanu means that it slept overnight. It doesn't mean our water. It means water that was overnight. In other words, this is a halacha. And this is a halacha l'maisa. And the concern is that the water is slightly warm, and Rashi goes into the whole thing, that the sun is in a certain position before Pesach, so it warms up the water on the ground. And this warm water, we know, could make chametz. We already spoke about poishrim. It shouldn't have any warm water. So the woman should use water that was overnight. So there's a famous vart from the Marash, from Belz, the Belz Rebbe. he writes that there's a difference between tshuva miyira and tshuva ma'ahava. Tshuva, when you do tshuva out of fear, like we do on Rosh Hashanah, we're scared that Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to chop us down, so we do it out of fear. What happens is that the zdainais, they turn into zgagos. And when you do tshuva me'ahava, out of love, like on Pesach, you do it out of love, then it turns into schuyos. Zok the Belzer Rebbe, on Rosh Hashanah we go and we take our stuff and we throw it into the water. We want to get rid of our stuff. We get rid of it. But on Pesach it turns into schuyos, so we go and we chop it back from the water. That's why we chop it back. As I zokte. It's a famous alta vart. Okay, Chassidish vart. For those, we gotta be nice to Chassidim. We're very nice to Chassidim recently. So, Zokti Gemara, unbelievable story. Darsha Rav Masna bePapernoya. Rav Masna got up and said, Rabbi Sai, there's an interesting halacha called Mayim Shalanu. And that is Mayim Shalanu. Make sure it's Mayim Shalanu. L'mochar, Aisa Kula Alma Chatzbayu. So they all come running to him, knocking on the door. They all come with their jugs, with their pails. They want some Mayim Shalanu, because he said Mayim Shalanu. My water. So they all came, like a bunch of Amaratzim, knocking on the door. We want some of your water. What he meant to say is Lanu slept overnight. It cooled off overnight. And they didn't chap. Amarlo, ano b'mayo devisu amri. I'm talking about water that stayed overnight. So the Olam asks, the Gemara had to say a story about a bunch of shaitim. There's once a story in Chelam, there were a bunch of Amaratzim, and they thought Shalom means this, and they so funny. So the Chazon Ish says that from here you see the yisoid of Emunas Chachamim. They knew, but they didn't speak Hebrew. They were in Bavel, and he said Shalom. And they said we're not going to ask any questions. It doesn't make any sense. It has to. You can only make a matzah from me, from my water. But they went with a certain tmimos. There's other tirutzim here. Some people learn a real halacha from here. What if you don't have, etc. Okay. But the Gemara, the story has a point. Darash Rava. Isha loy tolish b'chama. A woman should not take her kneading outside in the sun, because the sun could cause chametz. V'loy b'chami chama, and not use water that was heated up from the sun. V'loy b'mayim hagrufin min hamulyar. What's a mulyar? Based on Rashi, this is the best picture. I try to fix it a little bit, but it was really hard. Sorry for the quality of this picture. But basically, you have this pot made out of copper, and there's a fire, a flame underneath, and since it's so thick, it retains its heat. Even if there's no fire, it'll still be very hot. So don't go into it, grab some water from it, because it's going to still be warm. And she shouldn't take her hands out of whatever she's doing until she's done. She has to be careful. Finish up the job. So, what do you see from here again, Rabbi Yisai? Who made the matzah in those days? The woman made the matzah. Without a mishgiach, without it, she made the matzah. And she needs two different vessels. One, she based the matzah, and the other one, she could cool off her hands, because the heat coming out of her hands could make chametz. The Mishnah Berurah brings different shitas that say only if she is busy putting her matzah into the oven, so the heat from the oven combined with the kneading, but a typical woman doesn't have to wash her hands in cold water every few minutes, unless, of course, as the Mishnah Berurah, if she really feels heat. She feels that her hands are hot, then there's no shayla. She has to cool off her hands. Ibaylu. Avra v'lo. She didn't listen. She went and she did the lisha. So according to Rashi, it's just in the last one, according to the Rush in Rashi, he's talking about all these things that we just said. She shouldn't walk away. She needs extra water. Whatever all these halachas are. We're not going to penalize her. We're going to, fine, we can use it. The Sanya, you shouldn't soak barley on Pesach. I'll bring you a raya from that case, the case of somebody that soaks barley. What if you're not supposed to, but I did it anyways. Nizbaku asurim, if they split open, it's asur, then nizbaku mu tarim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'akol niyeh b'dvaroi. Givaldik. If you look at this chart, it says over here Daf Mem. Daf Mem is the day that Yerachmiel was niftered, like that day that I announced it, and my head was in a different place. I wasn't focused really. I had the chart with me. I didn't show it because I was in La La Land. I was just trying to move through the Daf, so I'm going to show it now because Rashi discusses this as well. Nizbaku, if they split. In other words, if you see that there's chametz going on by us also, she made bread, and you see that there's chametz. How do you see that there's chametz? If you have karnei chagavim, if you have the whiskers, the side, a crack, we're going to have a whole sugi about it. If the bread is a certain color, if there's a whisker of a grasshopper, just a little crack, that can show. So if we know, so just like over there, we know that there's no chametz because the barley didn't split, so we don't give them a knas. Well, you think all halachas are the same? They're all woven with the same, everybody's woven with the same fabric? Don't we have something like that in English? We're all woven with the same fabric? Something like that. Kitzer. What, all halachas are equal? If you are over on this halacha, chacham give you a knas. You're over on this halacha, they don't give you a knas. If you soak barley, you weren't supposed to, great. Over here, they said you have to wash your hands every 5 minutes because your hands are hot. So they gave you a knas. Who told you? Hey, over there they said there's no knas. And where there's no knas, there's no knas. Hadrun aloch kol shah. Rabbi said this was a very, very solid parak. Throughout Shas, we're gonna come back to this parak. Taisus brings it all over Shas. Parak kol shah, parak kol shah, parak kol shah. Very, very famous. So we're really gonna miss this parak. Hadrun aloch kol shah, hadrun aloch kol shah. Brand new parak. The official Mishnah, sponsored by Official, in honor of Shlomi Klein and how he represented and continues to represent the ideals of the MDY family, how he went to be Menachem Oval. Beautiful. I want to speak about it a little bit more tomorrow because he told us some unbelievable stories and things that happened at the Shiva house. So I would like to discuss it when he's actually listening live. So Be'ez Hashem tomorrow. Says the Mishnah, Ve'elu oivrim bepesach. According to Rashi, these are the things that you over on Bal Yirah and Bal Yamatzah. Kutach habavli. So the Mishnah starts with things that you're over taroives chametz. Taroives chametz. A mixture of chametz, two different items. Rabbi say, Shechyanu, Vikimanu, Vigyana Zmanazeh. I've been waiting months for this Mishnah. This is the Mishnah where I got to show you what kutach is. I have to show you. I've been preparing this for the longest time. I have a kli here. I have gloves. I got to show you what they ate in those days. It's gewaldika, unbelievable stuff. I don't want to ever forget this kutach. It's big stuff. It's very, very chashuv stuff. And we talk about it a lot in Shas. We're only going to do this once. I kept milk for over 6 months to get it to the right consistency. This is sour, should be sour. I also have a piece of bread. That's mamish mold, should be mold. Unbelievable mold. And now we're going to take, it's nervayim. We're going to do this. It's nervayim, the smell. Rabbi say, it's nervayim. Let me. I can't. If you guys are not in the Bismillah. And to top it all off, I'm going to put some special melach's daimus. Wow, this is good. And we're going to mix it. Oy. This, Rabbi say, is kutoch. This is what they used to eat. You understand what I'm talking about? This is geschmacka stuff. In those days, Baruch that we don't live in that generation. Can you imagine? If you behave nicely, I'm going to give you some of this kutoch. All right, let me keep it over here for a little bit. It might come up again soon. Fine. Zog the Gemara. It's gewaldige stuff. It took months to come up with this milk. But it was well worth it. V'sheich Amadi. And beer from Modai. Now, typical beer, the Gemara is going to explain, this is Modai beer. I found it. They actually sell it at the Yamazeh. Medina beer from Modai. This has, as the Gemara will explain, it's not your typical beer that's made out of dates. This actually comes from, there's a little bit of barley in there. The chometz ha'adaimi also has some chometz in there. The Gemara will explain all of these. Now, the Gemara switches gears for a second. And the Mishnah goes to chometz nuksha. A new idea, a new concept called chometz nuksha. Nuksha is chometz that's, it's not 100% chometz. It's a weaker type of chometz. Shvacha chometz. So you have zoymon shel tzabayim. The Gemara will explain what it is. Va'amelim shel tabachim, some sort of bread. V'koilin shel soifrim, some sort of paste, glue. Also, when it comes to not, he's in a great mood today. Oh, you want to show them one of the screens? That would be nice. So, Tachshit Enoshim is more like cosmetics, like makeup, things like that. We're not talking about gold and silver. Zeh klal, kol shuhu mimin dagon, anything that's made from the 5 grains. Harei zoyever bepesach. The Gemara will discuss. So, what do I need to give me all the examples? If it's made out of grain, it's made out of grain. Harei lo bazara. Not only that, you get a lav, and if you get a lav, you get malchus. Vein boy mishum karas. These things mentioned here, you don't get karas. Not like regular chametz, gezunta chametz. Ton rabban. Wouldn't it be funny if I like knock this and it goes all over? Maybe I should put it away. I'm scaring myself here. Kuta chabavli.
Yeah, a green marker. Give me a break.
Ton rabban. Shloisha dvarim nemarim bekuta chabavli. There are 3 things. Let's see if there's any big chidushim here. Mitamtem misalev. No kidding. This thing makes you stupid. But what it really means is, it clogs the heart, ruchnius wise. It makes you further, you can't come close to the Rebbitzen when you eat something. How could you? Mitamtem misalev clogs your heart physically. Nah, I want to learn that it's a ruchnius thing. My twin brother here is saying that it's gashmis. This I'll give you. It blinds a person. It makes you weak. All these things, not a big chiddush. The blind part, I don't know, but makrish saguf. Mitamtem salev. Why is it mitamtem salev? Mishum nasyuvei the chalava. Now, if you read this week's Or HaMerkaz, very chashuva Rabbi Schoenberg, he's a tremendous Talmud Chacham, and we have a big schus of having him part of a shir, and he wrote a beautiful shtickle Torah there. I read it at least twice. In fact, I noticed that at the end, when he brings Rebbe Yashiv, it says it twice. So I'm just saying that I read every word. So he explains in great detail what this way is, how to get it, what they used to do, what they do today, what impact it has on all these halachas. Is it real milk? It's not really chalav, etc. But whey is the water that separates. You get it from the top. If you look at a yogurt, for instance, on one of these shamenets, you could see the water on top flowing. That's whey. It's a byproduct of, he explains, it goes from the rennet, the this, that, fine, a whole zach. Nasyuve the chalava in English, whey. Rashi actually says, that he says some word in German, and it means whey. And it makes you blind, mishum milcha, because of the salt that's in the kutach, and what people do is they rub their eyes, and we could see it like with COVID. Oh, by the way, I have to say again, refuah shalema to TL, COVID. So there is no COVID. Akoponim, They say you touch this, and you touch your eyes, you get sick, right? I don't know. They still go with that? Not really the eyes, the nose, whatever, fine. But I think they used to say eyes, and maybe they're not, I don't know. Why does it weaken the body? Because of this stuff on the bottom. This green, moldy bread, that will do it. Well, we know mold is really bad for the body, besides if you use it for antibiotics, but mold is not good. The mold of the bread. There are three things that create more waste in the body. And they make you bend over. Now, if you wouldn't look at Rashi, bend over. What does the Mesivta say on bend over? But Rashi says, what? That's what Rashi says. Matishin is koichai. They make you weak. It doesn't mean literally you're going to be bent over. It means that you're going to be weak. Take 1/500th of a person's eyesight. It says the same thing in Shabbos, no? Like brachas, running. Huh? Big steps. Elohein, pas kibar. Rabbi said this is really bad for people that are on diets. Pas kibar is whole wheat. Mamish, like I said, I don't want to come back to the Beis Medrash because of these two clowns. With the phones going off, the machines coming. I'm telling you, Avi, didn't I say that? And I warn you? They're showing it to you. You came back, covered you. No, I'm fine. I'm already calm. I'm already used to it. V'sheicher chadash, like you can't lower the ring. It has to be full-fledged, and you just leave the Beis Medrash with the full-fledged ring. Say that. I understand it. V'sheicher chadash, brand new beer. V'yarachai, you hear this? You're on a diet. You think that you're going to be eating whole wheat bread and a lot of vegetables. You're going to be healthy. No. What does it do for you? It makes you sick. It doesn't give you energy. All these things. But Rashi says over here, very interesting. So if you are reading Rashi, you'll see that it doesn't mean all salads. It means if you eat leek, onions, radishes, and you eat a lot of it all the time. So a good salad once in a while is good. Tarabon.
No, onions, the live onions.
Yeah.
That's what kills you. But
yeah.
A fresh salad of tomatoes and cucumbers is not.
That's exactly what I said. Yossi, you're not listening today. Mamish. I don't know what's going on with the Olam here. I said mefurish, Tamid harbe. If you eat it a lot and all the time, then it's no good. But if you eat once in a while, geshmaka salad, and it doesn't include onions and radishes and leeks, then you're mamish good. Torah I'm not in a bad mood. B'chlal, I'm serious. I'm just, everybody's in a good mood. There are three things that will make less waste in the body. Stand upright. In other words, you have koiches. They give you good eyesight. Elohein, pasnikia, the bread that everybody thinks is terrible, the pure flour, the white bread, basar shamein, fatty meat, v'yayin yashan. This, I think people agree, is pretty good. Old wine, pasnikia. Pasnikia is what? Now we're turning to Amud Beis, the smida. It's fine flour. We just turned to the Amud Beis, sponsored by Gedalia Fensteler, for Shleim of his son, Yerachmiel Daniel ben Toiva Basha. For Shleim, another 14-year-old with leukemia. For Shleim. Basar Shamein, what does it mean, fat meat? It's the Pirta de Yiftach. It's from a goat that never had children. In other words, a female goat that didn't have children. Yain Yashan, what's old? Atik Atike, 2017 variety. It has to be at least 3 years old. When you left, I made fun of you. I said the reason why I didn't want to come back to this mission is because of you and him, and both of you are causing me a lot of tsars tonight. Call Mile, yeah, but there's something called mute on the thing. You don't have it. You can't. Okay, so leave your phone at home like I do. Call Mile them ale lahai. Rabbi say, I want to tell you a mashal. I'm serious. This mashal I've been working on for 4 months, at least. I told this mashal to somebody a long time ago, and I've been wanting to say this for a long time. But the final piece happened in the middle of a Shemona Esrei last week. Last week sometime. Let me tell you a very geshmaka mashal. if you don't know about video games, it might not be for you so much. But I want to borrow something from the outside world for this mashal. I think it's a beautiful mashal. My kids, I don't play video games because I know I'll get addicted. But I watch my kids playing video games. They have these, let's say, a basketball game, 2K, whatever it's called. So what it is, you put together a basketball team. You need 5 guys on your team. And you pick a guy. And you look closely and you see that the guy that you picked, he's the best shooter in the world, but he's a terrible, terrible defensive player. Then you find the guy. You find the guy. No, what do you make these songs? No, I can't. Literally. Rabbi said, did we have this late saunas when I was at home? I'm going back. We'll go back. Be'ezer Hashem. Pretty soon we'll be back. I'm telling you what, we'll all be back.
Get someone else for the video. Carry your fire.
Okay, let me start over because this is a beautiful mashal. Larry, listen to me. Larry, listen to me. This is a mashal. You need this mashal in your life. The kids play with these video games. And the video game works. You try to build a team of 5 guys. And you get to pick a guy. So you pick a guy that's unbelievable. He's unbelievable scorer. He shoots unbelievable. His shooting is 90%. But his defense is mamash in the toilet. It's 10%. You take the next guy, he can shoot from the outside, but inside he's very shvach, he's a short guy. You take every guy has a maila and a chisar, and you try to build a thing. And I think that's a mashal to life. You look at the other guy, a lot of people are jealous. Look at that guy. He has it all. Look at him, he's so wealthy, he's so this. Well, do you really know how healthy he is? That guy has a chveis, he has a heart condition. If you knew it, you would be jealous? No. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives a person on this side, he has a weakness on the other side. But the bottom line is, everybody equals out. And everybody has to use their koichas to make it work. But I had a big shaila on this mashal. What about Michael Jordan? What about Kobe Bryant? What about the guys that have it all? They have it all, and in the game, there's 4 guys that have it all. Have it all. They're great shooters, great rebounders, great defense, everything. And that's what happened. Like a week ago, I chapped. But Kobe Bryant got killed in a helicopter crash. Yeah, he had it all. So at the end of the day, nobody's jealous of Kobe. Nobody's jealous of anybody. Because you think they have it all. You think, I wish I had his life. I wish I had his seichel. His seichel, yeah, but look at his this. His that, and look at that. Maybe it's marumas in this Gemara over here. It says like this. Kol mili dimali lahai, kosher lahai. Anything in this world that works really well for this will be really bad for that. It has side effects. Says Rashi, if it's really good for your eyes, it's really bad for your heart. The doctor could tell you. The doctors will tell you. Everything has side effects. With the kosher lahai, mal lahai. It's good for that. It's bad for this, but it's good for that. Bar, but there are 4 all-stars on the list. Bar mizangvilo, retivo. Besides fresh ginger, I have a Givaldic picture of. Yeah, this is good. COVID doesn't exist. Refuah Shleim for TL doesn't exist. So the COVID, the ginger. He's gonna kill me. This TL guy. Wet. It has to be fresh. Upilpele arichta. And if you're a 7-footer, hot pepper. A long hot pepper, pasnikia, ubasar shaman v'yayin yashan. You know, there's arba mesu be'itya shel nachash. There are 4 that died. They didn't deserve to die. They were perfect human beings, and maybe they match up to here. The only problem is that there's 5 in this list. You know what the 5th one is? You, each one of you could be the 5th if we don't do any chet. These 5 things, old, how do you say it what's the proper way of saying it? Not dated wine, old wine, how do you say it? Aged wine, thank you. Aged wine is good for the body, and good bread, these are good for the body. How does it fit into my mashal? Somebody will have to tell me. Zokti Gemara, Sheikhar Yamodi, beer that comes from muddy. The Ramu Bei Meisari, because typically beer is made out of dates. Remember, we had the whole shaila. You have the beer and you have the room, and it should be chametz as is. What do you mean? Because maybe the shamish will drop his bread over there. No, because in those days they made beer out of dates. So if you have beer that has barley in it, which is muddy, that's no good. What's chametz ha'adaymi? The shadu be'isare. Again, this vinegar that comes from Edom. So, what's the Edom? They made really, really strong wine, and it never really became vinegar. You can't get wine vinegar out of it. So, in order to make it vinegar, they had to throw in barley into it. Omer Rav Nachum Batchila, before Churban Habayis, Kishahoyu Mivim Nesachim Yehuda, they also had really good wine. Lohoya Yenam Shel Yehuda Machmetz. There was a ness. It wouldn't become chametz because people would bring that for the nesachim for the Beis Hamikdash. Certain karbanos oil shlamim, you bring wine with it. So since they would bring it from Yehuda, it never became chametz until you do something external like throwing in barley. V'hayu koynoisoi chametz stam. And now the wine from Edom doesn't become vinegar until you throw barley. I'll fill up from the charev. In other words, im meleyazu charevazu. When you have Edom is on top. They rule the world. America, Germany, whatever it is, we are on the bottom. We can never. If we're on top, they're on the bottom. But it's never going to be equal. Azoi geitos. When she went to ask what's going on in her stomach, Rivka, one is going to be above the other at all times. Before the Churban, when you buy something from an Amoritz, typically you have to take meiser because the concern is he won't take meiser. But when you buy vinegar from an Amoritz, you don't have to take meiser. Because we know that it's not going to be from wine, it's going to be from temed. We're going to see what temed is. It's a derivative of wine. Today you do have to take meiser. Because we could be certain it came from wine. If it comes from wine, it's like anything else that you must be concerned that he didn't take meiser, you have to take meiser. As the Gemara of Rabbi Yehuda, what? Rabbi Yehuda holds that if you have wine that's not wine, you have temed, you don't have to take meiser. It says Tanya Snan you take water, you take a liter of water and you pour it into temed. And then you pour it all out. And what happens? It's exactly the amount that you poured in, you poured out. But it looks a little red. It has a red hue to it. It looks like wine. Tastes a little, like a little petalish, like a little wine. No. You potter from meiser. You don't have wine in your hand. Why not? Because what I put in, I took out. It looks like wine. It smells like wine. That's only the coloring that comes from fruit. The tseva of peiros is nothing. That's a Tanakama. Rabbi Yehuda mechayev. Rabbi Yehuda in Avodah Zarah goes by color and flavor. It has a little flavor. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, if it smells like wine, looks like wine, it's wine. What happened? I put in a liter, and I have a liter. I put in a liter of water, and now I'm looking at the thing. It's exactly a liter. You know what happened? Some of the water is left inside over there. So one pshat is that this temed is so cheap. Why does Amoritz not take meiser? Not because he doesn't know, because he wants to beat the system. It's too expensive for him. But a temed is so cheap, he's not going to be such a rush and not take meiser on a temed. It's nothing. It costs him peanuts. No. Even on temed, we're concerned about the Amoritz. So Ravka, you need to. Why? You put it into the sediment, the lees. So the sediment is actually giving you wine, and then you come onto the svara that you put in a liter, you took out a liter, so some of it got stuck in the sediment. And the putzane are the seeds. Seeds are nothing. V'zeisam hamitzri. My zeisam hamitzri. Zeisam hamitzri is also a concern of chametz. Tonar of Yosef tilta sari. So we had this in Masechtas Shabbos. 1/3 is barley, tilta kurtami, and 1/3 is saffron. If you don't know what saffron looks like, v'tilta milcha. And if you don't know what salt looks like, here's salt. Well, this salt is different than the one that we put in. This is regular salt. Before I put in, it was a different salt. I put in what? From Yam HaMelech. The really zdoimis, the stuff that blinds a person. We had the same exact Gemara. Rapapa took out the word barley and he put in chitim. In other words, 1/3 is made out of wheat, not barley. Rav Yosef, who started off and he said it's made out of barley, his name is Yosef with a samach. So he says sa'are barley. Sisane, there's a certain kli that they know in Bavel, it's called Sisane, has a double samach. Soyrim is a sin, which sounds just like a samach. That's how you remember. And then what do? You have these 3 ingredients. What do? Taralu, you have to soak it, v'kalalu, and you toast it, v'tachanilu, and you grind it, v'shasalu, and you drink it. From Pesach until Shmooze. That's all it works for. The komet, if you have a constipation, mirapile, you get healed. By the way, I don't know, I didn't ask anybody, but remember we were learning that sugya where the Maharsha says that they sprinkled the refuas of Yecheskel throughout Shas. In different places. It's very possible that some of the stuff is from Sefer Yecheskel. The komet mirapile, if a person has constipation, it'll help him out, loosen it up. If a person has loose, make it not loose. L'chayla, uleisha, the big signs on the products. If a person is sick or pregnant, stay away from it. Ubara sakanta, uleisha ubara. If she's pregnant, sakanta, it's a sakana. V'zayim shel tzabayim. What does it mean? Hachat targimu in Bavel, they translated this word maya de chivri. It's bran water. It's white bran water. The tzave behu labo. What's laba? What does he say laba is? Sarke. What is sarka? Anybody? What does the art school say? Could you please help me out here? Oh, that's right. Redskins, which is not a nice word in America. I think the Redskins, I think they took it. They're gone. Washington, what? Yeah, you're not allowed to say Redskins in America anymore. There's a football team, American football, name was Redskins until this past year. They said it's awesome. It's a derogatory word. So I guess they had football in the time of the Gemara. Says the Gemara that what? They took this water and they used to paint the red skins. So you have this bread made out of wheat that the wheat it was young wheat, didn't bring 1/3. Shamanicha pikdero, the cooks, the chefs would put it on top of a pot, and it would vacuum up all the froth, all the zuama, the filth from whatever they were making. The koilan shel soifrim is also chametz. What's this? Or chametz nuksha, remember? Hachar targuma perura dushkafe. This is the glue, very strong glue, that the shoemakers used to make. So I saw actually, one of the Rishonim, I believe, says, so what happens if you walk into a place, you hear Yosef, if you walk into a place and you have shoemakers glue in your shoe? If they burn your shoes? No. Ad kedei kach not, he says. Not that I had I don't know why he had to say them, but okay. When I was reading, I was like thinking to myself, imagine like if someone has this extra chumrah. In my house, you have the shoe glue, you have to burn your shoes. Every Pesach, he burns all his shoes or something.
People who don't use gas because it's a derivative of wheat.
Really?
There's crazy things. People don't use oil, they use only schmaltz of the chicken.
In the that's what they did. Listen, don't say they're crazy.
Okay,
Rav Shimon b'choiz no'amar zeti pulim shel benois ashirim shemishayrois oisoi levnois aniyim. So, I should have showed you, I had, when I was 14, 15, I used to use this cream to shave. And for my brother's bar mitzvah, I left it on a few extra minutes to get a geschmack shave, and I showed up like a tomato, and that was the last time I ever used it. My face was literally burned for like 3 weeks. So they used to use that stuff to shave. So the rich girls, they would leave over, whatever left over, they give it over to the poor people. So they explained that the rich people used it very quickly, so it never turned chametz. And later on, some guy, Yosef, has the picture of me in a mask. You should have at least given like something basketball. I was in the middle of talking about basketball. You give me a thing. Okay. If you look at the Mishnah, the 7 items. The first 4 are for everybody. When it comes to Zayman, Amel, and Kalman, those 3 are for the pros. You tell me it's some sort of cream that helps hair removal. So everybody uses it. It's not for a professional. Every girl in the world uses it. So what do you want to tell me? It's glue for a shoemaker. So why is it a cipher is a cipher? A guy that does a cipher. What does that have to do with the shoemaker? You talk about the glue of a shoemaker, not the glue of a cipher. At the end of the day, it's shoemaker's glue. So why does he stick in the word of a cipher? The cipher, it's not exclusively for shoemakers. The cipher also use it to get their papers aligned and glued together. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful, wonderful week, a wonderful evening. We'll see you tomorrow, Be'ezer Hashem, in 10.5 hours. A gute Voch.
I'm drinking that thing and getting $100 in
Do you want the kutach? You want to bring it home? No?
He said he's paying $100 whoever drinks it.
Who said that?
Stefansky. I'm drinking it. I want $100.
I'll give you that.
Tomorrow's Mishnah.
There's no Mishnah tomorrow. Yeah. Avi, welcome back. I missed you.
Thank you. Good to be back. Be well.
What? Shalom Aleichem, how you doing?
You had one of the things you had a problem with that. If you ever need this, you can send out to me and I'll try it.
I tried with the regular remover. It's no mshana. Azov.
If you ever need it, send out.
Yishkoyach. Oh, it's a good idea. I could give it to you and you'll... Banishma Chevra. What? It was in a comma? I can't hear. Hold on a second. I hear... What are you saying?
The milk that you kept for 6 months for the kutach, it was just it was not the solids, it was the liquids, right?
It was the way.
The solids was the way to liquid.
No, I made it... Hillel, I made it tonight. Please, come on. I took some food coloring and I made it tonight. 6 months. Really? I don't think so. They thought it was... Are they really thinking that? Do you guys really think that or no? Are you messing with me? It always goes on the classics. Every shtus goes on a classic. The kids liked it. All right, it was a hit. It was a hit with the kids. Gewaldic.
Speaking of the kids, I shared this before this year. My kids made this morning, earlier on Shabbos for the magnets. They said it's MDY.
What is that? What is it made? Oh, I see what you're saying. Very nice.
They made out of magnets. They said we made MDY.
The Beis Medrash itself.
Well, you took a picture of them when they took it? You have a special Shabbos camera?
No, it's still there, Yosef. It's still there. They didn't.
After Shabbos, I took the picture.
Good talk, Rebelli. Thank you.
Good Voch, good Voch.
Special Shabbos camera.
Goyach Rebelli.
Everyone has one of those.
Nishkoyach Akiva.